And then he realized almost a sidecar to that was the Big Bang. And so then he would realize, and then actually, when he came up with the Big Bang and he realized that the universe started at one specific point in time, we now say it's 13.8 trillion years ago. He actually tried to disavow his theory because he knew what that meant, that the universe began at one specific point in time, that there had to be a creator behind it, an intelligent designer. So he actually spent some time trying to disavow it. And I know Hubble invited him to come out to California one summer, which he did. And Hubble showed him through his telescope that he was able to prove that the universe started at one specific point in time. Okay, now I know there is, and since then, it wasn't until about the 1960s that a lot of scientists got on board, astronomers got on board, and saying, yes, we believe that the universe is not static. It hasn't always been here, that it actually began at one point in time. There's been a lot of controversy since then. And I know that there's a astronomer at ASU that is an atheist, and he has gone on the attack the last couple of years about the Big Bang. Number one, he said there's a way to prove that the Big Bang doesn't need an intelligent designer, and he brings out all these things about different scientific things, but none of that really makes sense. And I've heard other scientists jump in and say, that's not really all that correct. But he is the one that is really pushed the multi-universe. So if there was a multi-universe, then it doesn't necessarily mean that there was a God behind the universe that we believe in. Now, is this multi-universe, is this just really theoretical, or can they prove that we live in a multi-universe? What is your view on that?
Well, for ape or someone not sure if there's a God, so they had to come up with something, try to explain away the fine-tuning. When you look at the universe, when there's a beginning, okay, then there's expansion. People found out the exact amount of the mass at the beginning when it converts from energy. This energy is so precise. The amount of the mass that exists right after 10 minus 43 seconds of the beginning of the universe. Why they're so precise? Because if the mass is not so precise, then the expansion after a while either to be fire off all the matter, or because of gravitational, after a while they go back to the beginning. Then we don't have a current universe. So more than that, because the look about the Milky Way, where our galaxy, the solar system exists, is so amazing. I read the book from Dr. Hugh Ross, Design to the Core. I learned from the beginning of the universe. Again, I encourage anyone if interested, read the book. It starts with the universe, and then step by step, how this universe so big, and within our galaxy, there's a big group of a galaxy, and then narrow down to for example, the Milky Way. And then from the Milky Way, there's solar system. And in this solar system, they look at the Earth. The Earth was so precisely at the location. Not only that, the Earth is able to in it, and then also circulating around the sun. About all this is respect as a design. And if there's an expansion or explosion, there's no way we can get something so precise like the Earth can exist. There's so much fun to not only by looking at the Earth, the Moon, and the physics constant. So the fine tuning is so important that they cannot deny that there's something they cannot explain. I mean,
Right.
randomness cannot make it.
I'll jump in again here real quick. Because I know a lot of people look at the universe and they look at all that. And I saw something last night that somebody posted up on a NASA website, and they said, and they showed a picture of all the stars out there. And it came back and said, there has to be light on one of those points of stars or points of light. There has to be. And I think they're talking about sheer numbers that there has to be life out there, or evolution started on one of those points of light. Somebody came in and said, well, there can't be any life on those points of light because those are stars and it's very hot. So they're not gonna, so it would have to be a planet that's rotating around one of these points of light. But it doesn't know that a lot of people don't understand. Just because a number is so huge, it doesn't mean that there's a possibility of that, because I think they take out the complexity of what it takes to create life. And if they even knew half of what they understand now about evolution, and it's not possible, that it doesn't matter how many points of light out there that you have, the complexity behind it and fine tuning and everything else involved with it, it really cuts down the percentages enormously. And coming back to what you say, where in the Milky Way, where our solar system is located, I find it very interesting. Also, it's like perfect fine tuning for that, but we're way out on one of the arms. And that allows us to take a look and we can see the rest of the Milky Way. So it gives us that opportunity to see that too. So you can just go down the list of all the fine tuning that goes on this solar system that we live in. And I also know without the huge two supergiants that we got, Saturn and what's the other one, Jupiter, if we don't have those two supergiants, we would not exist on this planet either, because they act like a super magnet for all the meteors that are flying through our solar system. So if you just look at it over and over again, there has to be something behind this, some type of an intelligent designer.
Exactly.
So go ahead, keep going.
So that's why, since they cannot explain away why so much fine tuning, so they come up with this multiverse. That means the infinity among, assume, again, this is a theory, no one can prove it, infinity among of universe. Maybe out of this infinity universe, they can find something that look like solar system, and there's Earth. Think about it, just the current universe, the solar system and where we live so that we can exist the chance. Dr. Hill was calculate the chance that we can live in this Earth is 1/10 to the power of 500. 1/10. It used to be 10 to the 50, but the latest, the more time, the more we find fine tuning happens. So they recalculate is the chance is 1/10 to the power of 500. That means 0.0000 all the way. Basically, it's almost impossible. Okay.
Yeah.
So that not only that, when they, just like you say, people look at the alien, whether there's a UFO, whether there's the other planet in the whole universe. So far, starting from 1990, this again I read from the book. So from the 30 years ago, scientists is surveying more than 3,500 a star look like our sun, and then look for the planet of those stars. and then see if there's a planet circulating the star out somewhere whether in Milky Way or further out into the galaxy, other locations. Okay, so they analyzed the 3,500. Only 286 have something kind of close to the density and the mass requirement to look like Earth. However, out of all these different codes, their distance between the star and the look like some kind of Earth-like planet. Actually, we don't know what's that. The distance is only 1/10 of the distance from Sun to our Earth. So when the distance is so close to the Sun, the gravitation, the calculation, they cannot so-called self-spinning, or they cannot like the Earth. We are circulating not only around the Sun but self spinning. So they cannot. So just like the Venus or Mercury, they have one side either too hot or the other side too cold.
Right.
There's no way there's an Earth can exist. So far, we as a scientist, we cannot say there's 100% impossible. There is no alien. Maybe there's some kind of micro life, but so far, out of 30 years, they don't find zero. That there's the planet look like the Earth and the Sun, because the distance is just right, and then the temperature is just right, and the moon just right, so that we have with all the tide, high tide and low tide, so that helps the microbiology to make the plant in the sea life, make it possible for sea animals to eat the plant. All this is well decided, and we couldn't find any planet out in the universe look like our Earth. So they may. So finally, all the scientists change their mood. They say our Earth is where? Where? Out in this universe. It's not a common. So far, they cannot find any Earth-like planet look like Earth. And
Right.
if you don't have some planets look like Earth, you cannot have any advanced life. Even you have a very simple life like a bacteria or a virus. Maybe they can exist somewhere in the universe, but no way that you can find animal, not even a human being. So that's why the
That's true.
multiverse is come up to try to explain away fine tuning. That means infinity times 1/infinity. Maybe that's equal to a constant. But this infinity multiverse is no way we can prove. It's just a theory.
Right.
And
And I find it interesting with Darwin, when he first came up with his theory of evolution. He said that life sprang out of the primordial ooze, and it was it was not complicated. It was not complex. And he said it was real basic. But to this day, there is no life that lives on our planet that is basic. Everything, down to the very molecule and everything, is very complex all the way through. So that really kind of threw that whole thing out the window. And also, I find it very interesting that a lot of scientists or astronomers are saying, well, we found water. We found water on the moon of Jupiter, and we found planets out in the solar system and in the rest of the universe that's got water. Water is not a big deal. Water is the second most well-known element in the universe. So just because there's water out there doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to have any kind of life on it. That's why when they go to Mars and they're looking at all the canals and everything too, they're saying, well, there had to have been life there because there was water there. And that's somebody that really doesn't know what they're talking about. Water doesn't mean it's going to be life, because then it becomes very complicated at that point how life would even spring out of the water, out of that place. So that's, let me ask you a question. If we did find life somewhere out in the universe, would that make Christianity all null and void?
Definitely not, because God is all powerful. He created the universe, but he is not limited by our dimension. He is even more than 11 dimensions of string theory come up with. So he is above all, above everything. And in the Bible, he didn't say that nothing in this universe. We don't know. We just say we don't know. If God creates something in the other universe, it doesn't violate our faith. We still believe in the true triune God. And he may prepare something, even have according to his own will, because all this he starts is to love human being and put all the human beings in this special earth planet. This planet, the more science we study, the more we understand. For example, the water you were talking about, right?
Right.
In the past, if the atmosphere is not protected like this, the water will evaporate, go away into this universe, just like the Mars. In the Mars, you don't see that much water. Maybe there's some distance down there, but most of them is evaporate. Okay, and why there's just enough water in this earth, and scientists start to find out there's a possibility again, even this theory, but it's very likely because there's evidence that there's a comet bring the water, enough water to the earth, okay, so that it can compensate whatever the water loss. And not only that, the air we breathe in, okay, the air include oxygen and nitrogen and carbon dioxide, okay.
Right.
From that book, I just learn every day new, okay. Why the composition of oxygen had to be about 20%, between 20 to 21%, and the nitrogen had to be around, in that case, 79%. And then the carbon dioxide is very few. Even there's a lot of carbon dioxide released into the air. Still carbon dioxide is 0.0%. Okay. Something. Yeah. So majority is oxygen and nitrogen. If oxygen more than 23 or 24%, everywhere in this earth will be always burning. Always burning, because oxygen is very oxygen. Oxygen like to burn things. Okay. So because of the nitrogen is so-called not active, not what you call that, alert. That means not easy to react with anything. So the nitrogen 79% set right to balance off the oxygen, so that it won't be everywhere burning. Otherwise, you and me is already burned, right? Our home already burned.
That's interesting. That I had no idea. That's interesting.
Everybody, but by 21%, people can do experiment. If less than 16%, if the oxygen, then our civilization is very limited, because people cannot burn fire. If oxygen is too low, then we cannot have a rocket. We cannot start our car, because if 15%, There's not enough oxygen. There's too much nitrogen. Okay, so you cannot.
Oh, it's very narrow. It's very narrow, the amount of oxygen. It's
That's
in
why-
the.
That's why, so that we human being can survive with breathing in the normal, in the lung we have. If you don't have enough, like 18%, you think about people go to the high mountain, whether it's Mount Everest or even very high, the oxygen is not enough. Some people can die if they don't go to too high elevation. But since we are on this earth, the oxygen just right, so people can breathe normally. So we need to thank God to prepare so many good things. Oxygen, air we breathe is only one thing, and there's an ozone layer. And that's the ozone layer to protect us from the UV. There's the ABC of the UV light. One of them, I remember, is whether C or B. It's not good for human beings. It can kill you. But the ozone layer is protect us from this damaging UV light. Some of the UV light we need that, like the plant need the that spectrum to grow. Okay, so the ozone layer protect us, and not only that, we have the magnetic field inside the earth. Okay, from the iron core. I just learned that our earth have a lot of iron. Who put it there? Without the iron, because our earth is circulating. You know, when something circulating, it generates magnetic field. Okay, just like your electromagnetics, right? So when it turns, you can generate magnetic field, and this magnetic field is so important for our survival. The sun even is burning the radiation.
I know Mars and Venus and Mercury do not have magnetic fields. And I don't know about the outer planets, but I don't think they have one either because they're not spinning like that. But I know every time the sun goes and does this super burst, you know, where it's spewing out stuff to the rest of the solar system, if it wasn't for that magnetic field, it would kill all of us off.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that has got to happen.
yeah, that's why.
Yeah,
And then not only that, the Earth was tilted 22.5 degrees when they self-spinning. This angle, that's why, so that we have summer, we have winter, we have autumn. Of course, the feeling is kind of hot, but this degree just right, so that we can have the right temperature. Think about the Mars. The Mars was still 90 degrees. When they tilt 90 degrees, when they finish, so there's certain spot will be too hot or too cold. But the Earth is at 22.5 degrees tilt, the axis of rotation, just right. Everything is just right. Everything is fine tuning. God designed all this. So people try to come up with it. Yeah.
Because one of the things that they were worried about when we go, human beings go off into space, let's say they colonize the moon, they colonize Mars, they're going to have to deal with the fact that the sun is going to spew this out. How can they protect that? And one of the things I see now is that they're having to design habitats that's buried in a cave inside of outside of the mountain of Mars, inside of a mountain or a mountain range on the moon, because they have to be able to figure out how human beings can live through one of these things. And one of the big things is on their way to Mars, they're going to have to go through something, and when that their spaceship gets hit with that, how are they going to deal with that? So there's a lot of questions that are still unanswered. You know, I know these robotic things can deal with that, but human beings, their human life cannot. You know, so it's It's even trying to get around in our solar system outside of the Earth is going to be a complicated issue. And I know they want to get out into the universe. Here's a question for you. And I kind of have an answer to it, but why did God have to make so many stars? And why did he have to make the universe so big? Wasn't there a lot of waste involved in our universe?
Yeah, there is so-called anthropical principle. That means when we look back in time, all the universe, whether from the beginning, why there's so many stars, trillion of them, is to prepare human being is able to live in this solar system, particularly the Earth. Okay, so first, when we look using the telescope, look back in time from the beginning, look at about your human body. Human body has a lot of chemicals, whether it's carbon or calcium. Basically, the essential element in our human body is prepared. Do you know how we have like chemical, all the elements is more than 100 of them, 120, I forgot. Okay, but most of them are useful in the periodic table. Okay, all the chemicals. Why the Earth so rich a chemical? Because when it's starting the universe, there's only hydrogen, and then later the hydrogen fuse together become helium. So majority of the element is hydrogen and helium. They form a gas, and then there's some lithium. Why there's a healthy metal? Because all these matter under gravitation, when they even the universe is expanding, some of them still become the matter getting closer and closer. So they get squeezed in until the gravitational suck them, draw them into a very dense form. And when the energy they cannot stand anymore, they become a supernova. During this expansion, because of the pressure so much from the gravitation, in this process, they create a healthy metal, whether it's the iron or above. So the latest research from the spectrum of the sun, they found out again this theory, but with a strong evidence from the sun, record the history, how the sun come up. The sun itself, solar system, have been go through at least 4 supernova. That means at one point the solar system is so close to the black hole, the center of Milky Way. And then of course the Milky Way come from somewhere in another galaxy group. Okay, so this is just an example. They had to go through 4 of them so that all the required elements can be accumulated and put into the Earth for billions of years. It takes long time so that we can enjoy sit down here with the computer, with the table, with everything we enjoy in this Earth. God designed that way so that all the 100+ elements can be mostly found on this Earth. Why? Why Earth is so rich in Earth, all the elements, particularly those essential elements, whether it's water, whether it's the carbon, the nitrogen, all this sugar, the food, all these elements was need a billions of years, and also so many stars God make them mix, and then eventually prepare a unique Milky Way that is different from all the other galaxies. Okay, and
In what way is the Milky Way different than the other galaxies?
I one of them, the closest galaxy in this because all the galaxies we look at, they find there is so many the arms of our Milky Way is just very unique. So that the one even close of them, they have so many radiation, and their arms is not even close to what we have. And the solar system is right in between two arms. The arms actually have a lot of star or a lot of matter. So it can have a comet and can kill all the solar system. So in the other galaxy, basically, there's a famous word the astrophysicists look at. When they look at it, the universe is going to kill you. Everywhere you think it. The other galaxy is not look like ours because they shape their arm, the radiation, the matter distribution is completely not friendly to any life can survive. So they already check. Everywhere you look, it's not user friendly. You cannot find a perfect planet like the Earth. So basically, everywhere want to kill you. And we can survive because of God's grace. And we don't, all the human beings too bad, they cannot be friends to this creator. But for those people like you and me, keep friends. Actually, when you look at that, there's more faith to believe in God than it's more faith to believe in nothing or atheism. Because that's almost impossible. You think about what I talking about in this universe. Our solar system is unique. Our planet is unique. Everywhere else is killing you. There's no life, not yet. Fine.
It's amazing how unique we are. And I heard somebody say that it's not a waste, because they were saying it's a waste, but it's not a waste if you have unlimited resources like God does. No, it's not a waste. You know, it's never a waste because he has unlimited resources and power and everything else. You know, when we do find, when we die and go to heaven and then we get connected and God brings us back from the dead, it's going to be very interesting how and why he put all of this in motion, why he allowed all this stuff to happen, the size of this universe, and then our separation from all the angels and stuff like that. It's going to be, eternity is going to be really amazing too, all the stuff we're going to be able to learn. Studying God is going to take an eternity because he is, who is this creature? Who is this entity? So it's going to be very interesting to find out all about him, if we ever do find all of it. But I know that, you know, the thought process behind all of this is so complicated, but it's not complicated to the creator. All of this is just ho-hum. Okay, I did this and it's no big deal. To us, it's like, how did you come up with that? How did that amazing thought process that occurred? It's amazing.
Amazing. Well, in the Bible, it reveals a little bit to human beings that we understand. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, they say, and God said, let there be light in the firmament, just like the universe of heaven, to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. So the star gives us some kind of a season and a star sign. Okay. And let them be for light in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. God put this not only through the time, 13.8 billion to prepare the Milky Way and the solar system, but also use the star to help us when we look at it. If you go up to Vesta or Sedona or Prescott, where there's less light pollution, wow, you see, particularly Milky Way. I was in the north side of Grand Canyon. It was dark enough, I can see the Milky Way in my eye. It was just magnetic. And think about the Milky Way is only one galaxy, and there's a trillion of galaxies. Wow, that's amazing. God is so powerful. And then he also say in Psalm chapter 8, let me read it to you. When I consider your heaven, the work of your finger, the moon and the star, see, which you has ordained or you set it in place. What is man? That you are mindful of him, and the Son of Man that you visit him. Psalm already tell us he set it in the heaven, and particularly the moon and the star is important. Okay, just like you say, the Saturn, Saturn and the Jupiter. I learned from the class, the book club from Hugh Ross, that this tool is so important to show us not only from the comets, but also stabilize our orbits. If they are in the wrong combination of the number of circulating the sun, it can destabilize our Earth, and our Earth will be rejected out. But because of the special arrangement, and the moon, without the moon, our Earth will reject out. Because of this special combination, our Earth is stable enough so that we can sit here. We don't feel we are rotating, because God is make us very stable. He set his Earth in nothing. Actually, Isaiah or Job is already talked about. He put his Earth in the space or above nothing. Job was written more than 3,000 years ago. It already predicts the Earth was suspended in nothing. Think about it. Only God can reveal in the Bible. Now we confirm that the Earth was suspended in the space, basically nothing. But the Bible already tells us. Okay, let me finish this major theme of multiverse. That because God is eternal and above of the space, time, and all things in it, only He can start, design, and fine-tune our current universe to support human beings, you and me, human life on Earth. Instead of the multiverse theory was meant to replace God, it actually points to a creator who started the universe. Therefore, we can see the harmony between the book of nature and the book of scripture if we can interpret them accurately. The biblical God is no longer a science fiction, whereas some people try to replace God with different philosophy and unproven science, including the randomness, unguided forces, and infinite universe. The proven record of Jesus Christ in history and his impact on human civilization are tremendous and can be verified. Jesus Christ's teaching and related description about his dual nature of both God and man should give anyone a second thought to the concept of no God or no creator of this universe. Let's look at some of the amazing Bible words written about 2,000 years ago, showing God in Christ is above all things, include this universe which he created in the beginning. The Bible describes heaven where God dwells is like another universe with different time and space. Okay. First, I read John chapter 3, 31 and 33. The more I read the Bible, the more I rethink about this verse. I can see that some kind of meaning can be come out from these biblical words. Okay. The one, Jesus Christ, who come from above, is above all. The one who is from the earth belongs to the earth and speaks as one from the earth. We human beings from this earth, okay? We belong to the earth. Even our skin, our tissue, our organs, all make up of the component from the earth. And we speak, we are limited by time and space, but Jesus Christ come from above. Above, that means above this universe, above this earth, above this sky. Not only that, there's no limit. They say above all the universe, above all. The one who comes from heaven is above all. It repeat again. The Bible, when it repeats, that means very important. Okay. That means that when he is above all, God is Jesus Christ from above, and he is from heaven. He testified to what he has seen and heard, but no one accepts his testimony. Just like right now, a lot of atheists or some scientists don't believe in God. They don't want to accept his testimony. Testimony is in the Bible, in history. Jesus Christ is a real person. It's not something fiction, something that people make up. History, historian, verify definitely says Jesus Christ. History cannot change. For the one whom God has sent, speak the words of God. For God gives the Spirit without limit. Okay. So let me read two more Bible words, then pretty much summary of today's discussion. For of Jesus Christ, and through him and to him are all things. To him be glory forever. Amen. Romans 11:36. That means through him, all these things come into human being. He created trillions of galaxies and trillions of stars in each galaxy. All things. He's so powerful. All this is to him be glory. And then in Colossians